Elon Musk has reached his breaking point with the Democratic Party. The billionaire now tweeting, "In the past, I voted Democrat because they were mostly the kindness party," in his opinion. "But they have become the party of division and hate, so I can no longer support them and will vote Republican. Now, watch their dirty tricks campaign against me unfold." And Carly, I mean, we've seen, just as one example, churches absolutely vandalized, right? Images that say, if we're not safe, you're not safe. So is he right?
Yeah, I think that what we're seeing on our screen right now is a great example of what Elon Musk was talking about. And I think that there is something really interesting happening right now where you have several high-profile, deep-thinking liberals who are moving away from the Democratic Party. They're moving more to the center, moving more to the right. One of them is Joe Rogan. He talks about it all the time on his podcast. You could sense his frustration. With him, it was really the COVID lockdowns, government overreach. He moved to Texas because of it. You also have Bill Maher, and his message has been, I didn't leave the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party left me. And he talks about the woke stuff and how crazy things are right now, and he can't support all of this, the woke nonsense. And then you have what's going on with Elon Musk, put him in that exact same category with free speech. And because he's championing free speech, he's now being accused of racism for it. So there are a lot of people who are saying, the Democratic Party used to be one where it was a message of love and support, and it is absolutely not that anymore.
Yeah, let's take a watch, Ari, of what that message is now in terms of under the guise of what Roe v. Wade, what might happen to it if the draft opinion that was leaked actually comes to fold. Let's watch what those Democratic leaders responded and what they called for.
My worry is that this is just the beginning. Next, they'll go after gay marriage and maybe the board, what is it, Brown versus Board of Education?
Yeah.
They already eroded our voting rights a little bit. So I see fascism down the line here.
If the rationale of the decision as released were to be sustained, a whole range of rights are in question. It goes far beyond the concern of whether or not there is the right to choose. It goes to other basic rights, the right to marry, the right to determine a whole range of things.
So that was our president and his media allies, Ari, really being clearly divisive, fear-mongering, and I think tying that into Carly's point, if you dare to just think freely, if you dare to reject a narrative that is pushed down your throat of such hyperbolic hysteria on the part of the left, that's why people are fleeing the party, right? It's because they want to think for themselves, and that party does not allow it.
Well, they're fleeing because there was such a massive difference between what I viewed as the principled ACLU-based liberal Democratic Party that valued speech, that valued debate. They were liberals. I didn't like their policies, but there was respect for two sides. You could have an argument, and that seems to be lost. When we're told that you're fascist because you're pro-life, how is this fascism? But this is their views. Now, I predict what's going to happen here. The midterm election is going to be such a massive blowout for the Democrats. For one brief moment right after the election, they're going to pause and say, maybe we went too far. Maybe we became too woke. Maybe we shouldn't have accused Republicans of being fascists and said that men can have babies and things of that nature. That's going to last 24 hours. And then they're going to start attacking Donald Trump all over again. The Democrats have yet to learn the lessons, and neither has the media, about what 2016 meant for what people in this country, the populist movement, and how fed up people are with politicians. The Democrats still don't get it.
That's right. And Harris, as Elon Musk sort of predicted the war waged against him. We've seen it already, right? His own party called him a robber baron and a racist. And there were 26 activist organizations that penned a letter, right? They wanted to get him kicked off, and this shouldn't happen. Well, Adam Andrzejewski of Open the Books determined that those guys received $10.5 million in public funding. So when Elon Musk said, who's funding these detractors of free speech? Well, the answer is us. And he said these people will happily take federal funds, but they're working to weaken the public square of discourse.
They're angry because he's trying to change their cancel machine.
Yeah.
He's taking away their ability to make other people shut up because they don't have a copious debate. They don't. If they did, they'd be using their words. They're not. They want us not to use ours as a whole as the American public. And we won't tolerate that. And look, it took Elon Musk to put Starlink over a country that was being invaded by Russia. And it took him saying, I want to buy this company if it doesn't have too many fake accounts, to get us all talking about what real speech should look like, what an open forum should look like, especially if you're about to take a company private. They're going to lose it. They won't get Section 230. They won't get any kind of, I mean, they're looking at a situation where they can't just sticker us because we decided to say what the truth was months ago about questions being asked about the Wuhan lab. My goodness. You would have thought I was building a house on Twitter. They were trying to set me on fire so fast. Seriously, one piece of wood at a time. Or with the Hunter Biden story on the laptop. At least they said Ms. Faulkner, if you're nasty, before they threatened to take me away. But yeah, so Elon Musk says this cancel machine needs to go. Now, whether he ends up buying it or not, we all see it.
That's right.
And they don't like it.
And that cancel machine, you know, it's part of a shame machine too, Kayleen. We've talked about this ongoing conversation of record turnout there in Georgia, but in such stark contrast to in terms of common sense and asking questions and guiding one's own principles, we have the president declaring that those laws were just like Jim Crow. And let's listen to him for a moment, because I think it's important to remind viewers exactly how our president framed voting laws there in Georgia. Watch.
Do you want to be on the side of Dr. King or George Wallace? Do you want to be on the side of John Lewis or Bull Connor? Do you want to be on the side of Abraham Lincoln or Jefferson Davis?
Yeah, remember the press secretary told us that wasn't a human-to-human comparison. It sounded pretty human to me. It also sounds pretty fallacious and wrong in hindsight now that we know Georgia voting has gone up by 155%. That was turnout this cycle. So it's actually enfranchised people, not disenfranchised. It's just an election integrity measure. Elon Musk, though, let me say, I'll never forget when in May of 2020 he tweeted, "Take the red pill," with the red pill emoji, and everyone went nuts. Like, is it a Matrix reference? Is he actually turning Republican? 2 years later, we know, and I think another emoji is really important, and it's the one at the end of his tweet where he talked about "they will come after me" and has the popcorn there. He knows what he is up against, because to Harris's point, I think this is like Hannity used to say with the Russia investigation, we peel this back layer by layer like an onion and find that it was rotten at its core. I think there's so much more at Twitter we don't know. It's just my guess, just surmising here. But the Hunter Biden story is an example we know. What don't we know? I'd love to see the algorithms. And Elon Musk, he's a threat to that entire social media world and industry, which is enormously powerful.
Well, look, we just found out half the president's followers of 22 million were fake. Yeah,
exactly.
What don't we know?
Right. Yeah, but to your point about the popcorn, I love that Elon Musk appears at least to be unflappable. 2 years in, multiple years in, right? He's like, bring it on, and we're all going to join him in that theater.